Hi, I'm Aaron Runk, and today we'll be doing a setup on a Mori Seiki ZL-25. First thing I'm going to do is I've powered up the machine in the back. I've come up here to the front and I've pushed my power on. If you'll notice, I have my emergency blinking light. To do this, I need to come to my emergency stop and pull it until it makes the popping noise. I also have one on my chip conveyor. I have released that. Once I have done that, I will push my power on again. And while this is repowering up, you'll notice my emergency stop has now gone away. I have a warning sign saying that I need to be in compliance with all the safety. At this point in time, I feel that I am fully aware, so I will hit OK. Once you hit OK, your machine will give you a prompt to open and close your door. To do this, you just simply open and close the door very gently. To give you guys a better visual of what's going on, I'm going to come up here to the top right of my machine, and I'm going to put my door interlock into the release mode. If this light is blinking very fast, it's because you have turned on the machine with it already in the release position. You'll have to put it back to normal, power down the machine, and then power up again. Once I have that in the release position, I will unlock my door so that you all can see exactly what's going on here. If you'll notice, this is a dual turret machine. I have to home both turrets. To do this, I have turret 1 active. To switch between turrets, I simply push the button. Now on this machine, if the turret is already at home position when it was turned off, I can simply push and hold the Z negative button. If you'll notice that it goes all the way back home. Because I'm using the upper turret, I will hit the X minus, which will go towards my tailstock, but you don't want to push it until it runs in the tailstock. You want to push it until it changes directions. If you'll notice, it went toward the tailstock and then back up. I can do the same thing with turret 2. So I will activate turret 2, and then I will do the same thing. I will go Z minus. You notice it comes forward and then backwards. However, with this being the lower turret, I will not push this or else it will over travel me. I will push the X negative for the turret 2 direction, push and hold, and you notice it comes up and back down. From here, I know that my machine is homed out. The way I can double check that is by looking over here at my machine status. Turret 1, X and Z are at the home location. Turret 2 is also at the X and Z home location. From here, I am now ready to input my program that I will be using. So to do this, I'll close my door and I'll put my machine back into the normal state. I will come down here and I will make sure that my edit key is in the on position. That way I will not run into any alarms. From here, to send or receive a program, I need to be in the edit mode. So I will turn from zero return mode to edit mode. Zero return is specifically for when we zero out the accesses. Edit mode is for editing the programs or sending and receiving. So if I come back up to my screen, I will hit my hard key program to come up to here, and then I will hit my soft key operation. It will bring me to a new list of commands. I want to cursor over to the read and punch screen. I want to read from my computer to the machine. Now if you notice on the side here, I have an RS-232 that is already connected into my machine. If this is not connected, when I hit the read soft key, it will alarm out. So with that plugged in, I will hit read, and then I will hit execute. Now if you notice up here, LSK is blinking. That means the machine is ready to receive from my computer. So if I come down here to my computer, I have my program on my USB. I will plug it in. I am using Simco Edit to transfer my programs from one to the other. I will close this out once it pops up. I'll close this. Now in the editor tab at the top. Right underneath the editor tab, I have an open. I will click open, and I will come down. If these are not showing, come to your file types and click all files. In this case, it opened up just fine. I want the O1000 program. Notice that it does not have a .txt. It must be in this format or it will not load correctly. The O and 4 numbers afterwards. Knowing that this is what I want, I will open it. I can see here that this is the program that I want to put into my machine. So I will come up to the top to transmission. Once I'm in the transmission, I will simply come over, and seeing that my program is still loaded, and I will hit the send button. With this sending, it will say that it has successfully sent the transfer. So I'll hit OK. I will come back into my controller, and if you notice on my controller now, I have the same program, 2, 3, 4, 5, CNC turning 1. One thing you want to make sure is that you have the correct turret. So in this example, I had turret 2 active. I'm going to do it again so that turret 1 will be the correct turret. To delete programs out of your library, you simply type in O2345 delete. That way it's no longer there. So now I want to activate my turret 1. I will go to operation, cursor over, read, execute. I simply come over here to transmission and I hit send one more time. Doesn't take very long to do it, but in the off chance that you do mistakenly put your program in the wrong turret, it's that simple to delete the one that's in the turret 2 and put it in the correct turret. Now that this is all set, I want to see all of my locations for my coordinates of the machine. I am now ready to start setting tool links. So before I do that, I will come back over here to my offsets, and I will want to make sure that I have my geometry, not my wear, but my geometry active. With my geometry, I'm going to come down here and I'm going to find a tool. I'm going to go ahead and zero these out. And then I'm going to look inside my program to see what tools I want to use. In this case, I have tool number 5 is a DNMG 432. That 2 is going to be very important to us here in just a little bit. So for right now, I want to get tool 5 called up. So to do that, I will come down here to my machine, my mode. I will put myself into a manual mode, and then I will come down here to turret 1. All these keys are for turret 1. All these keys are for turret 2. Also, whenever I want to select a tool from one of the turrets, I simply have to put it on the correct one, which is tool 5, and I will hit the turret button. When I do that, it will move over to the correct turret that I want to use, the correct tool. So to do that, I'll open up my door. I can see that tool 5 was already called up. In this case, it did not have to orientate my turret. However, if I was to want to orientate my turret, I will show an example. I will go to 6, we'll go to 7. We'll be in a manual mode. We'll close our door. I will open up my door, and you can see that it has rotated over. Now if you want to see what's going on, you can go up to our key. So we'll go up to our key and we'll go to interlock release. Once interlock release is on and I want to call up tool 5, I simply put it on tool 5 and it will orientate with the door open. Keep in mind, this is very dangerous if you have the tool I right next to the turret, because it will break it. So, speaking of the tool I, to set our tools, I have my tool I, which is this whole arm right here. I will lift the silver switch and I will slowly bring this down. Once that is down, I will come back up to my screen, and if you see over here, I have a presetter. Now, just because the arm is down does not mean it is active. I will push the PSM, it is on, and the arm is down. So if I come back up to my screen, I have offset is blinking. Also, it is highlighted tool number 5's X geometry. This is what I want to set first. Afterwards, I will set the Z. So to set these, I want to move over in my handle towards the tool I. Now I want to make sure that my increments are going to get me over there, so I'm in my 100,000 increments, and I'm in my Z axis. So I will handle over towards it. I want to center as close as I can. Now that I'm pretty close, I'm going to reduce my increments to 10 thousandths. I will center up just a little bit more. Once I am very close to it, I will change my increments down to 1/1000ths in the X axis, and then I will continuously turn my handle in the negative direction until my numbers change at the top of my screen. Once my numbers have turned in my screen, that means that I have made contact with the tool I. Now, I will increase my increments to 10 thousandths, and notice you do not want to go to 100 thousandths, because if you go the wrong direction, you will bend the tool I. So, in the 10 thousandths direction, I will go in the X positive direction until I have cleared the I. I am now going to go into my Z axis and position myself to set the Z geometry. Now that I am very close to where I want to be, I will move down into the thousandths increments, and then I will slowly start going in the negative direction towards my tool I. In this case, it did change. So that is how far my Z-axis location is from home position to the tool I position. So from here, I'm going to handle back away from my tool I until it is clear. If another tool, I will turn off my PSM, raise my tool I out of the way, and call up another tool, and then bring the tool I back down and reactivate. It is safe to do that rather than accidentally turreting into the I, because then you won't be able to use it anymore. So now that we are done with the tool I, because we have set all of our tools that we need to set, I will turn off my tool I. If you notice, the offset blinking light is now gone. I will then raise up my tool I and put it up. I will just simply push it until it locks into position. Now I am ready to set my work offset. To set my work offset, I will close my door and I will come back and put this back into normal. Now, I have set tool 5, so I must use a known tool to set my work offset, because it will set from home to the tool I, and then from the tool I to the face of the workpiece. So, to get this going, I'm going to go into MDI. I can see on my screen I have MDI activated. I'm going to type in T505. T5 will turn my turret or orientate to tool number 5. The 05 afterwards calls up the tool's geometry, which is what we just set. I will type in into block, insert, and I will hit cycle start. When I hit cycle start, tool 5 will show up right here. Also, if tool 5 is not the orientated tool, it will orientate to that tool. So as I hit cycle start, you will notice that tool 505 is now active. During this process, we will not hit reset until we are done. So, to see what I'm doing, I will release my door interlock. I will also open my door, and I will turn on my spindle. To do this, I must be in a manual mode, and then I will come down here to the bottom right, and I will turn my spindle on manually. Now to do this, if you'll notice, I have a speed indicator that tells me how fast I can go. Never start your spindle full speed. Always start it at the lowest amount. So if I come back up to my machine, on my screen, I will go to position. From my position page, it will show me what the actual speed is of my RPM, of my spindle. I want to be about 500 for steel, about 800 for aluminum. So I'll come back down and start increasing my increments. About 490, so that's pretty close. And then I will handle down to the face of my part, and I will just take a very light facing pass. So I will be in the Z-axis, and I will start moving towards my turret, or towards my spindle. Once I get close, I will reduce my increment so I do not crash into my material. Once I get close to it, I will come up off of it. I will come over to take that small facing pass. Notice that when I'm doing this, I am not moving in the Z axis. I am only moving in the X. So from here, I do not want to move in the Z axis at all because I have to set that location so that the machine knows how far it is from the tool eye to this location. That is how I set my work offsets. So I'll come back to my spindle manual and I will turn it off. I will not hit reset because I will have to restart. I will come back up to my screen and I will go into the offsets setting page. And if you notice, I have down here offsets, setting, and work offsets. As I said, we will come to our work offsets. I am using G54. I will erase what was originally in there, and I will simply go Z0 soft key measure. That tool is 10 inches, 90 thousandths and 1/10 from the tool eye to the face of my workpiece. Now, to see if you've set this correctly, we can take our G54 Z location. We can add it, which is 10 inches, to our offsets. Remember the geometry, 5 inches, 800 thousandths. So 10 plus 5 and 800 thousandths should be about 15 inches, 800 thousandths. That looks really close. If I was to add up those two numbers, I should get exactly 15 inches, 899 thousandths and 1/10. With those two numbers adding up, that is the total distance from home to the face of my part. If those numbers do not add up, you will have a problem. More often than not, you will have the 15 inches, 899 thousandths in your work offset page. That is not correct. Once you do have all this correct, I will send my machine back home by closing my door and going into the Z0 return. I will go plus in X, plus in Z. Once I am at the home positions, I am now ready to run my machines, run my program. So once I have ran the program and got everything done, I want to send this back to my computer. Also, one thing to set up on our tool geometry, for a 432, I want to use a 31 thousandths radius insert and a tooltip direction of 3. That tells you what quadrant I need to be in to cut on the OD and the face of my part, so that cutter nose radius compensation will work correctly. So to come back to sending my program back to my machine, I want to make sure that it is the right program, so I'll be in edit mode. And I'm going to change this to 02346. 02346. I will hit Alter. Make sure my key is in the edit position. And you can see that I have moved it over to 02346. This is the program that I want to send. So, with my edit key in the on position, I'm going to come back up to my computer screen and I'm going to come up and hit Program. I will hit Operation, Punch. When I hit Punch, this will take my program from the controller to the computer. So before I hit the punch, I have to do this in reverse. I have to get my computer ready to read my program. So if we come back down to my computer screen, I want to receive from my controller. So I will simply just click receive. It is now in a ready state, ready to receive. So I come back up to my controls and I will hit punch. When I hit punch, execute, it will start outputting my program. Once it has output my program, I come back to my screen. As you can see, it is still loading. Once it has loaded the program successfully in there, it will tell you. I will simply hit enter. If you notice, that program is 2346. That is the program that I put back in from the machine into my controller. Once this is done, you can take your USB and put it on your computers and save it. From here, I'm finished with my setup. Everything is done, and that is how you do a setup on a Mori Seiki ZL-25.